Hi everybody, welcome back to Research Writing, and we are in week 3. And I'm already enjoying the class tremendously. I hope you guys are too. Let's see, I first want to encourage you to read the instructions for this week's assignment 3.1 carefully, and don't miss it. It involves 2 parts, an outline and a works cited. And as you are doing your research on your paper's topic, keep in mind the need for primary and secondary sources, because you're going to be pulling those this week. It doesn't mean this is it. You can certainly have more by the time you finish your paper, but this will be the beginning of it, and you're going to need 6 of them for this week's assignment. But keep in mind the primary and secondary sources. You want to have some of each. It's a good idea to have at least 2 primary sources and then 4 secondary sources, or 3 primary and 3 secondary. You are adding this assignment to your first assignment in this class, assignment 1.1, which was the title page and the research proposal. So, it's this idea of scaffolding that we've been talking about. So you're going to be basically creating your paper without the main content yet, all your prefatory material, and then your works cited page. You'll be on a good path to completing your paper once we get to that point. You have some important information to read this week, a tutorial to watch, the lesson 3 video from Moody, and I can't encourage you enough to not skip anything. You really need to watch it all, because there's important information in each different assignment that you'll need. That's not only important for this assignment, but for the rest of the class. Now let's move on to works cited. Creating the works cited is, unfortunately, it is work. It's not something that's easy. It does get easier the more that you do them, and you almost begin to memorize the order and the punctuation. But until you get used to it, until you write a fair amount of papers, it is going to be a bit of work, but it's not hard. It just takes a little bit of time and some thought. Let's see, if you were used to using MLA 7, there will be some adjustments. One big change right off the bat is in a works cited now, you don't have to include the city and the state where the book or the material was published, so you can leave that out. So even though it's hard, I do have some tips that I can offer you. One of them is you have the template that was in your assignment from this week, and I attached it again to the hard copy of this video, but the template is really going to be your best friend, especially if creating a works cited is new for you, because basically what it's doing is it's giving you the order for creating each entry for your works cited. And so you can literally print this off and handwrite these things in, or you can just keep this handy next to you and write out your entries and then type them in at the end. Following this template, what it does is it gives you the order, but it also gives you the punctuation. So if it says author, period, title of source, period, and then your first container entry, comma, it's showing you what punctuation you need after each one of those windows. And I'm including a video for you that explains this process really well. And what I would suggest you do is bookmark the video so that you can rewatch it throughout the class if you need to. But it's going to walk you through creating both in-text citations, the citations that are within the text of your writing that you have to source, like the author's name and the page number. But then it's also going to go into detail into how to use this template and some tips for creating that works cited page. So I would highly recommend watching that video. And then I wanted to share with you my personal system. It might not work for you, but it's what I do when I write books, when I write papers. I personally use footnotes. I haven't actually really heard of this as an option, but it works for me, so maybe it'll work for you. As I'm writing, let's say, a paper, I create the in-text citations as I go, because those are fairly easy. You don't want to have to go back and do that later, because it's really hard to remember when you've cited something, and then you go back and go, I think that's not my words, but you can't remember where you pulled it from, so do it as you go. But then what I do is I insert a footnote. Anytime that I am citing something, I just use Microsoft Word footnoting. It inserts a 1 or a 2, and then it drops you down to the bottom of the page to the footnote area. And then I put all my information in for that source that I will need. Most importantly, the page number, because it's really hard to go back. When you've cited something, you might have all the information about the book, but you have no idea what page it's on. So always include your page number. And then when I'm done with the paper, I go to the footnotes and I pull all the information from my footnotes to create my works cited. And I'm using this idea of the template so that I get all the information in there. And then when I'm done, I just go back and I delete the footnotes. So that works for me. It may not work for you. Another method is to doing it as you go. You can just keep a piece of paper close at hand and don't lose it. And you can write out all that same information as you go. And then when you go to do your works cited, you need to make sure that you correct it for punctuation and style, italicizing books where you need to, quotations around articles, that sort of thing. My biggest tip is to do it as you go. It really will save you so much time in the end. If you wait until the end to do your works cited, you're just creating more work for yourself, and it's going to eat up a lot of time, and you may miss something. So do it as you go, and then when you get to the works cited at the end, we have 5 weeks left, you'll have a much better grasp of this whole idea of works cited and the template and the order and the punctuation, and so it should be pretty easy for you to pull that together. So avoid lost time and do it throughout the course of the next few weeks. And I think that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. We were having a little bit of problem with Blackboard this week, and hopefully that's resolved. And again, text me if you send me an email so that I know that it's sitting there. And I hope you're all doing well. And I will talk to you again next week. Bye-bye.